All right, so we're diving into Think Straight by Darius Foroux today.
Yeah, this one's been on my list for a while.
I know a lot of you have been asking about this one too,
It's a
so
good one.
it's packed with really practical advice on,
How to actually think.
gotta actually think better.
Yeah, not just like think, but like how to
Right.
think well.
Yeah, how to make your thinking work for you,
Exactly. So,
not against you.
exactly.
So we're going to unpack all that.
I think one of the things that really struck me is how Foroux starts the book with this story about William James,
Okay.
who was this, really influential psychologist.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, but he struggled with like really severe depression
Wow.
for like months. He was contemplating suicide.
That's heavy stuff.
It is heavy stuff. And then he has this breakthrough,
Oh.
where he decides to believe in free will,
Okay.
but specifically like the free will to choose his thoughts.
So he's not just like letting thoughts happen to him.
Exactly. And that becomes like this key idea in Think Straight.
It's like taking control of the steering wheel of your mind.
Yes.
Mm.
And that's something that we can all start doing like right now.
That's empowering.
It is. It is. And it's not just some feel-good concept.
Right.
There are like real consequences to what we think about all day long.
That makes sense. Like, if you're constantly dwelling on negative stuff,
Exactly.
it's going to bring you down.
Yeah. Remember that quote from Emerson?
Oh, yeah. You become what you think about all day long.
Exactly. So we better be mindful of what's taking up space in our heads.
For sure. And that brings up another point. Like, most of us, we haven't had any real training in, like, thinking effectively.
It's true. It's like we're born with this incredibly powerful tool, our brains.
Right.
But we're never really taught how to use it properly.
I mean, you'd think thinking is just, common sense.
You would. But our brains are prone to all sorts of biases
Okay.
and mental shortcuts.
Mental shortcuts, yeah.
Heuristics are called in the book.
Heuristics.
Like, remember that book, Predictably Irrational,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
by Dan O'Reilly?
Yeah.
It shows how, like, we're not nearly as rational as we think we are.
Right. We make decisions based on emotions.
All the time. Not logic.
Yeah. So how does Think Straight help with all of this?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, Foroux kind of guides us through his own journey, from mental chaos to clarity.
I like that, a personal journey.
Yeah. And he had this near housing disaster in London.
Okay, housing disaster, London.
This is actually pretty funny.
Tell me more.
So picture this. He's in total panic. He's packing up his SUV,
Oh.
bringing his family over from Holland,
Wow.
thinking they're going to be homeless.
Oh, man.
And then the landlady backs out of their agreement, like at the last minute. So he ends up in this hotel room,
Oh, no.
totally freaking out.
I can relate to that feeling.
Right. But here's where it gets interesting.
Instead of just wallowing in that panic, he has this Think Straight epiphany.
Okay.
He shifts from like all these jumbled, useless thoughts to like really focused problem solving.
Oh, okay. So it's not about like eliminating stressful situations.
Yeah,
it's about how you think about them.
Exactly.
And how you handle them.
Yeah. And guess what? He finds an Airbnb solution like super quick.
So it worked out.
It did. It did. And you know what's even crazier?
What?
The landlady ended up changing her mind again anyway.
Oh, so all that panic was for nothing.
It was.
Mhm.
But he learned something valuable from it.
That's a good point.
That's what the book is all about, giving you those tools to manage your thinking.
Even when things feel chaotic.
Even when things feel totally out of control.
I feel like that's like the defining challenge of our time.
It is. It is.
Just like the sheer amount of information we're bombarded with constantly.
Information overload?
Yeah. How does Forough deal with that?
He tackles it head on. He talks about all those mental shortcuts we use. The heuristics,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, for example, you might buy something just because everybody else is buying it.
Oh, yeah.
That's social proof.
Social proof, right?
Or you stick with what, even if it's not the best option.
I do that all the time.
That's familiarity bias.
Okay, so these shortcuts, they're not always helpful.
Not always, no.
They can lead us astray.
Yeah. And the book helps you identify those heuristics
Okay.
so you can make more like conscious choices, deliberate decisions.
So you're not just on autopilot.
Right.
You're actually thinking things through.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
And he gives you this like really powerful question to ask yourself.
Okay, what is it?
Will the outcome of this decision truly change the way I live?
Oh, that's good.
Right.
That's a good filter.
It is. It helps you cut through all that noise and focus on what really matters.
What about those times when our minds are just like racing with a million thoughts? Like, what do we do with all that mental chatter?
Instead of trying to like silence your mind completely,
Yeah.
think straight suggests learning to become aware of those thoughts
Okay.
and then deciding which ones are worth acting on.
Oh, so it's not about like eliminating thoughts altogether.
No.
It's about choosing which ones to focus on.
Yeah, imagine your mind is like a muscle that gets stronger with training.
I like that.
You're not trying to eliminate thoughts. You're trying to get better at managing them.
Right, becoming more disciplined in your thinking.
Exactly.
So one of the most powerful ways to do that, I guess, is to like focus on what you can actually control.
Yes, that is a core concept in the book.
Okay, give me an example. Like, how do I know what's in my control and what's not?
Okay, let's say you're worried about what your boss thinks of you.
Oh, I do that all the time.
That's outside your control.
Right.
But what you can control is the quality of your work,
Okay, so instead of worrying about what they're thinking,
which you can't control.
I can focus on like actually improving my work.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that applies to like so many areas of life.
Right.
We stress about things we can't change instead of focusing on what we can actually influence.
Okay, so how does self-knowledge fit into all of this? Like knowing yourself.
Foroux emphasizes that, we need to really understand our strengths and our values and our desires.
Okay.
Without that self-awareness, you end up making decisions that aren't really, truly aligned with who you are.
Oh, right. It's like
Yeah.
you're going in the wrong direction.
Exactly.
And to
Right.
get to know yourself better, he suggests journaling.
Journaling, yeah, he's a big advocate for that.
Okay.
It can help you uncover like patterns in your thinking and identify those blind spots.
And those aha moments.
Yes, those aha moments, you love those.
I do. I've always been a bit inconsistent with journaling.
Yeah, I get it.
Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing it in a new light now.
It's not just about recording events. It's about understanding yourself better.
Okay, so I'm sold on the journaling, but I have to admit, sometimes I get stuck in like conventional thinking,
Oh, yeah.
following the rules, doing things the way they've always been done.
You're going to love this part.
Okay.
Foroux actually says he hates conventional thinking.
Haha, really?
He encourages you to think beyond those conventions, to challenge the status quo.
That's refreshing.
Right.
To find your own unique path.
Exactly. He even uses the classic pros and cons list as an example.
Wait, what's wrong with a pros and cons list? Isn't that supposed to help you make good decisions?
It can be helpful,
Yeah.
but he argues that it often leads to like binary thinking, this or
Right.
that,
Yeah.
when life is rarely that simple.
Oh, I see. So there might be a third, even better option out there.
Exactly. And you're missing it because you're stuck in that either mindset.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's like, he says, imagine you're in a maze and the prize is outside the walls.
Okay.
You can't get to it by staying within the confines of the maze.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
You have to be willing to like break the rules a little bit.
Yes.
To think differently, to find a new path.
And speaking of questioning assumptions,
Okay.
he has some interesting things to say about the word why.
Why? Okay.
He argues that, like, dwelling on why something happened,
Okay.
especially when it comes to mistakes,
Yeah.
can be really unproductive.
Hold on. Are you saying we should never ask why? Sometimes, like, figuring out the reason for a mistake.
He's not saying never ask why,
Okay.
but he's suggesting that instead of getting stuck in the past, asking why over and over again, focus on what you can do to prevent that mistake from happening again.
Okay, so it's a more, like, solution-oriented approach.
Exactly.
Instead of dwelling on the past.
Yeah, dwelling on the past doesn't really get you anywhere.
So it's about shifting from, why did I do that?
Yeah.
To, what can I do differently next time?
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good shift.
It is. It is.
So this whole idea of focusing on solutions, on details, on action,
Yeah,
that's a big theme in Think Straight.
it is. It is.
I'm curious, how does the book itself reflect that, like attention to detail?
Well, Forough spent over 15 months
Yeah.
writing and revising the book.
15 months. That's
Yeah.
a long time.
He even changed the title multiple times.
Oh, really?
He started with like these generic titles, like The Art of Practicality
Okay. Yeah.
or The Power of Pragmatic Thinking,
A little bit generic.
a little bit generic,
Yeah.
but he ultimately rejected them because they didn't really capture the essence of the book.
So what was his thinking behind Think Straight?
He wanted something simple and memorable
Okay.
and directly related to the book's message.
It's definitely memorable
Right.
and it's straightforward, to the point.
Exactly. And that same clarity of thinking
Yeah.
is what the book helps you cultivate in your own life.
So we've covered quite a bit already, like choosing your thoughts, dealing with information overload,
Yeah.
focusing on what you can control, the importance of detail.
Yeah, there's a lot in this book.
Where does Foroux take us from here?
Well, he doesn't just stop at the practical strategies.
Mhm.
He dives into the deeper implications of clear thinking,
Okay.
like living without regrets and focusing on the present moment, and even using your thinking to make a positive impact on the world.
Ooh, that's getting deep.
But we'll save all that for part 2.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
I think you'll really enjoy it.
Looking forward to it.
You know, one of the things that really stood out to me in Think Straight is how Foroux connects our thoughts and actions to like our overall sense of fulfillment.
Okay.
It's not just about getting things done. It's
Yeah.
about living a life that feels meaningful.
Yeah, and he does that without getting all like, woo-woo and vague.
Right. He's very practical, very grounded.
Yeah, he's all about applying these ideas to like real life situations.
Exactly. Like when he talks about personal money rules.
Okay, money rules, I'm intrigued.
Right. It's interesting because his approach to money isn't about like becoming a millionaire or anything.
Right.
It's about like having enough financial security so you can stop stressing about money
Okay.
and focus on what truly matters.
So what are these money rules?
He lays out 5 simple rules.
Okay.
Track your expenses, have enough savings to survive for 6 months, invest your money, don't buy things you don't need, and invest in your skills.
Those sound pretty straightforward.
They are, but it's the shift in perspective that he encourages.
Okay, what do you mean?
It's not about deprivation or penny pinching,
Right.
It's about being mindful and intentional with your resources
Okay.
so you can free up mental space for like what truly brings you joy.
Oh, I see. So it's like by taking control of our finances, we're
Yes.
kind of taking control of our thoughts and emotions around money. It's like
Yeah.
that focus on what you can control idea, but applied to finances.
Exactly. And that sense of control can be incredibly empowering.
Right. It frees you up to, pursue your passions.
Yes.
Take risks. Live a life that's aligned with your values.
Absolutely.
Speaking of control, Forough also challenges this idea that we have to like constantly be thinking.
Oh, yeah.
That every problem requires like intense mental effort.
He actually encourages us to stop thinking sometimes.
Wait, really?
I know it sounds counterintuitive,
It does.
but he argues that stepping away from a problem can actually lead to a solution.
Oh, like when you're working on something creative and you just hit a wall
Yes,
and
exactly.
then you take a break, go for a walk or something.
And suddenly the inspiration hits you.
Yeah, it's like your subconscious mind is working on it in the background.
Exactly. Forough compares it to like relaxing your muscles after a workout.
Okay.
Your mind needs a break too, a chance to decompress and recharge.
So what are some of his suggestions for like disconnecting?
He mentions yoga, meditation, listening to music,
Okay.
or just taking a walk in nature.
Oh, I love being in nature. It's so grounding.
Right. There's something about being surrounded by trees, breathing in fresh air.
It just melts away the stress.
Forough emphasizes that it doesn't have to be anything like fancy or complicated.
Okay.
It's about finding those moments of stillness and quiet in your everyday life.
And get this, he also talks about drawing your thoughts.
Oh, yeah, I love that part.
At first I was like, what?
Right. It's a little unexpected.
But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense.
It is. It's a way to engage a different part of your brain.
Yeah, like step outside the world of words.
Yes, and explore ideas visually.
He even mentions Leonardo da Vinci,
Oh, yeah.
who was like not just this brilliant artist,
Right.
but also like an inventor, a scientist, a visionary.
A true Renaissance man.
Yeah, and he was constantly sketching and diagramming his ideas.
It's fascinating to think about.
It makes you wonder if that visual thinking played a role in like his incredible creativity.
It probably did.
Okay, back to thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
We were talking about like Forough encouraging unconventionality, challenging the status quo.
Right.
What are some ways we can actually cultivate that mindset?
He suggests questioning assumptions, being curious and open to new ideas,
Okay,
and not being afraid to experiment.
I like that, experimenting.
You mentioned earlier that you sometimes get stuck in conventional thinking.
I do. I tend to follow the rules.
Yeah.
Do things the right way.
Maybe this is an area you can explore further.
Yeah, maybe there's a little rebel in me just waiting to be unleashed.
I think there's a rebel in all of us.
It's about having the courage to be yourself, even if it means going against the grain.
Exactly. And that leads into another key theme in Think Straight,
Hmm.
living without regrets.
Oh, regrets. Yeah, that's a big one.
It is. He shares a really poignant story about his grandmother
Okay.
who spent her later years, like, filled with regret
Oh, no.
over the sacrifices she made.
That's sad.
It is. And he learns from that experience that regret comes from what we don't do.
Not from what we do.
Exactly.
It's like that fear of missing out.
Yes, but on a much deeper level.
Yeah, like the things we didn't try, the chances we didn't take.
The paths not traveled.
Yeah, it's a reminder to like really pursue our passions.
Yes.
Make the most of our time here.
And that leads to his emphasis on being present.
Right.
Focusing on the now.
The present moment, easier said than done, right?
Absolutely.
It's hard to not get caught up in like worrying about the future.
Or dwelling on the past.
Yeah, exactly.
But he gives some practical tips, like, for example, he noticed he was taking too many photos,
Oh,
trying to capture the moment instead of actually experiencing it.
I am so guilty of that.
Right.
I'm always like looking at the world through my phone screen.
It's like we're so busy documenting our lives
Yeah.
that we forget to actually live them.
So what's the antidote?
Put the phone down, put the camera away, and just be present.
Just be present. Yeah, that's good advice.
And along those lines, Ford talks about the importance of, like, spending our time wisely.
Okay.
He reminds us that time is our most valuable resource.
It's like, it's not just about thinking straight, it's about living straight.
Exactly. He encourages us to, like, identify those activities that bring us joy,
Yeah.
that align with our values.
With things that give us a sense of purpose. It's about making conscious choices, not just letting life happen to us.
But we all make mistakes, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Even when we try to think things through carefully.
So how does Foroux address that?
He does. He does. He even shares this example from his own life.
Okay, tell me about it.
He had this idea to start a paid membership site for his readers.
Okay, makes sense.
He thought it'd be a great way to, like, connect with them and generate income.
So what happened?
As he started putting it into action, he realized it wasn't the right fit.
Oh, no.
He was taking up too much time and energy,
Okay.
and it wasn't bringing him the joy that he'd hoped for.
So he had to make a tough decision.
He did. He made the tough decision to, like, pull the plug,
Wow.
even though some people thought he was giving up too soon.
Yeah, that takes courage to walk away from something you've, invested time and energy in.
But for him, it was about recognizing that it wasn't aligned with his values or his goals.
Right. Sometimes you have to let go.
He chose to focus on the things that were truly important to him.
That's a powerful example of thinking straight in action.
It is.
It's about being flexible, adaptable, willing to change course when needed.
And it's about trusting that you'll find your way, even if it means making a few mistakes along the way.
So far, we've focused a lot on the practical side of think straight,
Yeah.
like how to make better decisions, manage our time, achieve our goals.
Right.
But I know Foro also dives into some deeper themes.
He does. He does.
Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. He explores the idea of, like, cultivating inner calm.
Inner calm.
Yeah, a state of, like, peace and equanimity.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Right. It allows us to navigate life's challenges with, like, grace and resilience.
Okay, but isn't that just some mystical state that's impossible to achieve in the real world?
Foro doesn't present it as something unattainable.
Oh,
He offers practical tools and techniques to help us develop that inner peace.
like what?
He talks about meditation and mindfulness,
Okay.
but it doesn't have to be some big formal practice. He says he meditates while walking, exercising, writing, even waiting in line.
So it's about finding those moments of stillness throughout the day,
Exactly.
not necessarily escaping to a mountaintop retreat.
Right, and the more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
This all ties back to the idea of taking control of our thoughts, right?
Yes.
Instead of letting our minds race with worries and anxieties, we can choose to focus on the present moment
Yes.
and cultivate a sense of inner calm.
You got it. And that leads us to one of the most, I think, inspiring ideas in the book.
Okay, I'm ready.
Thinking beyond ourselves.
Thinking beyond ourselves, what does that mean?
Foroux challenges us to consider how thinking straight can help us make a positive impact on the world.
So it's not just about personal gain.
No, it's about using our clear thinking to benefit others.
Okay, I like that.
He shares a story about William James,
Okay.
who credited his friend Charles Sanders Peirce with the idea of pragmatism.
Okay.
even though James was the one who actually, like, popularized it.
So even though he could have taken all the credit, he chose to acknowledge his friend's contribution.
Exactly. It's a beautiful example of how thinking straight can lead to, like, acts of generosity and kindness.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that our thoughts and actions have, like, ripple effects.
Yes.
That we can use our minds to uplift and support others.
It's a call to action, to think beyond our own needs and desires.
Yeah.
And consider how we can contribute to something larger than ourselves.
So Think Straight isn't just about, like, personal growth.
No, it's about becoming more than just good thinkers.
It's about becoming good humans.
Beautifully said.
I'm really glad we're taking this deep dive together.
Me too.
Think Straight is turning out to be much richer and more thought-provoking than I expected.
Me too. And there's still so much to explore.
Oh, is there?
We haven't even touched on Foroux', like, personal journey of self-discovery.
Ooh!
Or his insights on finding meaning and purpose in life.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's continue this deep dive. When I first picked up Think Straight, I thought it'd be all about productivity hacks.
Yeah.
Like quick tips for making decisions faster and all that.
Right.
But this deep dive,
It's way more than that.
it is. It's deeper.
Yeah, like Foroux really gets into the WHY of thinking clearly.
Yeah, like what's at stake
Yeah.
when our minds are just
Running
running wild, yeah.
with worry and anxiety.
Or those unproductive thought patterns.
Yeah, he's given us this framework for being more deliberate,
More aware
more aware.
of how our thoughts shape our lives.
Yeah, and it's not about being like an emotionless robot.
Right.
It's about
having more control.
more control
Yeah.
over your thinking.
Yeah, I like that he's honest about the effort it takes.
Yeah, it's not always easy
It's not easy.
to, like, confront your biases.
Yeah, those ingrained beliefs.
He doesn't sugarcoat it,
No, he doesn't.
but he makes a good case that it's worth it.
The rewards are huge.
Yeah, they are.
And he uses real stories.
Real examples.
Yeah, not just like motivational fluff. He
Yeah.
brings in his own experiences.
History, philosophy.
It feels grounded, credible.
Yeah, it's like he's saying, look, I've been through this too.
I've struggled,
I've struggled.
but I found a path forward.
Yeah,
And it gives you hope.
it does.
Like you can do it too.
It's like he's a guide,
A guide
leading us through this maze
of our own mind.
to find clarity and focus.
I like that.
Me too.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's one thing that really stands out for you from Think Straight?
For me, it's the emphasis on finding that inner calm.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's something I've been working towards
Me too.
for a long time.
Trying to find that peace,
Yeah.
that stability.
Amidst all the chaos.
Yeah, like how do
Right.
you
Life.
stay grounded and centered?
Yeah, no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
Externally.
I appreciate that Forough doesn't present it as this mystical experience.
Right.
Like reserved for monks on a mountaintop or something.
It's accessible.
It's accessible. Yeah.
He gives us tools, like
Yeah.
those mindfulness exercises,
Yeah.
to weave into daily life.
I love that it's not about escaping reality.
Yeah.
It's about finding that stillness within ourselves.
Wherever you are.
Yeah.
And it connects to that idea of focusing on what we can control,
Yes.
which is our internal state.
Right. Exactly.
You're getting it
It's not about avoiding difficult situations.
Right.
It's about responding to them.
with more clarity,
Yeah.
more composure.
Think Straight is really about taking ownership of our minds.
It is.
We're not just like passive victims of our circumstances.
Right.
We're active creators of our own reality.
Our thoughts have power.
They do.
This book shows us how to use that power for good.
It's an ongoing journey, right?
It is. It is.
We're not going to become perfect thinkers overnight.
It takes time.
There will be setbacks.
Challenges.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Yes.
Being willing to make mistakes, learn from them.
And keep moving forward.
Yeah. And be patient with ourselves.
Yeah.
Real change takes time.
Takes effort.
It does.
It's like training a muscle.
The more you practice,
The stronger you become.
you get better at it.
And the more you flex those thinking straight muscles, the more naturally it'll come to you.
As we wrap up, I'm feeling this sense of possibility
Yeah.
and excitement.
Forough's given us this toolkit
A toolkit
to transform our thinking.
on our lives.
Yes.
And remember that story about William James
Oh, yeah.
helping his friend Charles Sanders Peirce?
Even when Pierce was struggling.
Yeah, it's a reminder that thinking straight isn't just about personal gain.
It's about using our minds to lift up others.
Yeah, use our clarity, our
Our
focus
problem-solving abilities.
to make the world a kinder, more compassionate place.
Love that.
So to everyone listening, as you go forth with the wisdom of think straight.
Yes,
Remember the power you have to create positive change in your life.
and in the world.
That's it for our deep dive into Think Straight.
We hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you enjoyed exploring these ideas with us.
Yeah, keep the conversation going.
Share your thoughts, your aha moments.
We're all in this together.
Until next time, keep those minds sharp.
And keep thinking straight.